I'm Brad Leavitt, president of AFT Construction, and if this is your first time to our YouTube channel, we produce a lot of content that'll help you with design, construction, building a better business, social media, marketing. So if all those things are of interest to you, make sure you click the link up there to subscribe, and there's also a little bell for that notification. So today we want to talk about risk assessment, and that's something we spoke about in our last podcast with Matt Reisinger, and it is some really important points that Matt made in regard to risk assessment. You know, one of our most important tasks as a builder is to understand what the risk assessment is on each project and how do we convey that to the customer, because there's a few things happening. One, depending on the complexity of the build, as you see behind me, you know, this is one of our more complex builds. It's hillside, ICF, a lot of detail to this house. You know, we're built up on the mountain. And so one of the challenges with this hillside is we have a water flow issue. I mean, here in Scottsdale, we're prone to have monsoons. We have areas where there are 100-year flood zones. And so we have to be really cautious of how the home's constructed. And here we are with the hillside. You have all the rain that'll come down and these, you know, monsoons that'll come down the hill, and how do we divert that water around the house? And so there's a lot of foresight there. And part of the problem with risk assessment is that we're not doing our job as a builder in our communication at the pre-construction process. We're not sitting down with the client to really help them understand their budget, the design of the home, because if it's a modern home, you know, the risk assessment is going to be a lot different for us as the builder as opposed to a more traditional home. You know, if there's a high-pitched roof that's really steep with long overhangs, well, that creates a hat, if you will, with the sun. You know, it creates an umbrella. So it prevents a lot of the sun exposure, prevents a lot of the water infiltration that's going to come in. But on a modern home, a lot of times we have a flat roof, with parapets, very narrow face. You know, we don't have overhangs, and so there can be an issue with water intrusion. And that's where it's really important to us as builders that we're looking at all these issues that may come up depending on the style of construction and architecture. Case in point with the hillside is water's coming down the hill. How are we diverting that so it's not coming in the house? If it's a 100-year flood zone and we have that flood come in, you know, how are we making sure that, you know, the project is safeguarded? And two things will happen. It'll allow the builder's investment to be protected. It'll allow us to be more successful as the builder by going through all these things. And even more importantly, who are the subs and trade partners that we're hiring to do this work? We have to let the client know that sometimes it's not about the best price. Although the lowest price is beneficial, there are certain tasks that we should not be looking for the cheapest price in regard to framing, you know, foundation, site work, waterproofing. You know, these are elements that we need to have the core people. Window installation, you know, these are core things that will stand the test of time if we do it right, the right people to understand how to properly install it. So this is where having those conversations up front with the customer will allow a more successful project, prevent us from lawsuits and litigation, which we all do not want to have on our resume. You know, our clients, a lot of them come from wealthy backgrounds and have that ability, but we want to protect them as well and their investment and the dollars that they're spending.